Okay, people. So now it's the 13th of July, 2019. I just, I did that video yesterday. I uploaded, converted. It's now on a flash drive. Ready to be uploaded. It's just a matter of working on the basement for a bit. It's just the way it has to be right now, people. It's those skeletons. We need to have some of them clear the house first, right? But now I know I've said things like this in the past, but you know, sometimes things take a while for it to come together or to manifest or whatever it is. All right. So I'm gonna name this video. Andre, just turn that down a bit. I don't want to hear the chatter in the background. I'm gonna name this video $2 million donation. Roosters and horses. Because I'll tell you, people, if the foundation gets a $2 million donation, $2 million donation, $2 million. I ain't gonna be sitting up in no house all purty. I'm gonna be running around in the bush saying, oh, this is a beautiful piece of property. This is where we can plant some walnut trees. This is where Matilda and her babies can live. And after Matilda stops nursing, we can get her spaded. Matilda the raccoon, right? In other words, what I would do is I would bring in a raccoon program. Right, Mickey? That's Mickey. I don't know what Mickey wants. She says, I'm out in that forest with you. You know, Mickey the gardener cat. As soon as I'm outside, she's following me everywhere, right? So if I'm running around in 3 acres of bush, because I want to turn it into a park, right? Mickey's out there with me. You just heard her meow. She's, I'm coming with you. Anyway, what's happening here is I've been speaking with the board director because we just recently had an annual general meeting. Now, remember, everything is still on lockdown because of what Fraser Health Authority has done. And basically CIBC Bank, they put that freaking monkey wrench up in there. And that wrench is still in there tight, people. We haven't loosened it. I haven't broken free from all that crap. Right? All that scandal, all that, just that heavy, thick cloud that's smothering everything. But you know, we're still in the background. So I have been informed, people, that there are individuals in India that are thinking to make major donations for us out here in Canada. And because the board director knows I'm in a precarious position, you know, with my housing situation and whatnot, and just with the housing situation in general in British Columbia, Canada, you know, and he knows I've had a lot of struggles with this place in terms of the city and all that other crap, right? And just, you know, lack of income and just whatever, right? People dying and disappearing and blah. He's a little worried, right? So, you know, he said to me, well, if this donation comes in, you know, we'll get a house. Because I said, well, you're getting $2 million for what organization? And he goes, well, for our organization. I said, our organization? You're getting a $2 million donation coming in from India for our donation, like for our foundation. Like, I have to tell you this story, people. It may or may not happen, but you know, it's a nice thought, right? So anyway, I says, Oh, you're going to get a $2 million donation. Oh, okay. So for what foundation, right? Like, for who? He goes, for ours. And because he's Punjabi, right? Sometimes I can't hear what he's saying because of his accent, right? And I said, for ours? Or, excuse, what did you say? He goes, well, for the one we work on. I said, no, you got to be kidding me. And he goes, no. I said, okay. So I said, all right, well, what do you want to do with this $2 million if it comes in? He goes, well, I want to get you a house, so you don't have to worry anymore. Right? And I'm like, hold on a minute. No, you can't do that. And I got all like, right? I said, you can't do that. He goes, well, yes, I can. And I said, no, you can't. I said, I'm a board director. I can't benefit from that $2 million. You can't go raise money for me so that I can live in a nice house. It doesn't work like that. I said, but, don't worry. I'm okay. I'm okay in this house, people. My landlords, their daughter and son and all, they've already discussed it. They're keeping this house is a family house within their family. Why they made that decision is between them. I know that Mrs. Gill, she manages everything, right? The books and everything, and right? And I don't know how to explain their relationship. I just know that they have already expressed to me as a family that we're okay to stay here for a while anyway. And when I'm talking a while, I'm talking for a few years anyway. I'm not talking for a lifetime, obviously. I mean, obviously I can't live here for another 30 years, right? I don't even know if the house would last that long. You'd have to do major repairs. And by then, it would be the only house left on the block, and everything else would be something else. No, I mean, it's possible. They may decide to do that and keep this as a heritage house. Who knows? That's later on down the line. So, what I'm trying to say is, it would be a big conflict of interest if somebody from India donated $2 million to the foundation, right? And I ended up moving into a house that the foundation bought and just lived. I mean, that would be ethically wrong. That would be morally wrong. That would be just so not right. And it would go against everything that I've been trying to do. So I told this to this board director. I said, no, that's not possible. That cannot happen. It's not right. It's unethical. But now that you've mentioned that you're raising $2 million, this is what I would like. Instead of buying a house, I'd like for us to buy land so that we can have that park that I first started out with in terms of when I moved into this house, just over there where they're building all those freaking high-rises and wiping out all the bees and everything, right? We should have bought that land and turned it into a park. And we should have brought in roosters. And I said, oh, if we get this park, yay, I get all excited. Oh, we get roosters. We get roosters. Yeah, it was chickens, but I want roosters. So we'll be lobbying the city to get roosters so the roosters can have peace in their life, not just chickens in a backyard, right? Because it will be a fair amount of land with $2 million. And that's like one donation. I don't know if that's coming in from different people coming in at one time or if that's coming in from one individual. Could you imagine if that was just coming in from one individual and another individual wanted to top that $2 million? Now we got $4 million? You can buy a lot of land with $4 million. So I want ponies, I want horses, I want roosters, I want to plant walnut trees, people. I want to bring in children's and youth programs where community groups can book their days in to come in with their group to, make lean-tos. You go into my videos from when I first moved into this house. These are the things that I was talking about. These are the things that I'll be talking about if this should manifest, and these will be the things that I'll be talking about when I leave this house. When it is time for me to leave this house, I will cross that bridge by that time. Right? You know, right? Right? You know, that's not the issue. The issue is we're losing too much land out here for just, we need land with trees, and that keeps the planet cool, that, you know, feeds the wildlife, that brings in equilibrium, right? So I don't know if it's going to happen. I tend to believe that it will. I know this board director, when he came on board from the very beginning, he had a true heart. He's seen, when I gave him the paperwork, people, he's seen the complexity around it. He didn't understand it because he was just coming into it. But he's been around for a few years now as a board director. The only thing is, he got hit by a car and he almost died. His car was completely smashed up. So he was out of commission for over a year and a half or whatever it was, just healing from that. And then, you know, just his own life, right? He went back to school and studied to be a lawyer for whatever, and because he used to be a business owner with a restaurant, right? And I guess after he got hit by a car, it was just too much. It was too strenuous for him to continue with that. So he went into school and did school, and so he hasn't been involved. But every time I see him, and you hear it in my videos, I tell him, I can't be a president anymore. I need to step back. You need to be the president. You need to take it over. You need to get an accounting firm to do the books. You need to do all these things, because if you don't do these things, the foundation is going to go off to the wayside, because I'm just not strong enough, capable enough to do these things anymore. And I could only take it so far. I'll never be able to take it to that $2 million mark. Right? So, if we get the $2 million, people, that would be amazing. Right? Because, you know, you can buy a lot of land, and it would be like within the urban city, it would be within the city. Instead of tearing down the houses, we would be keeping the trees that are on the lot, and then, you know, maybe tearing down the houses to build in chicken coops, right? Or whatever. Or we can find land that is just vacant with trees already, so that we can build in what we need, right? In terms of, you know, we could even have I don't know. I mean, anytime you're doing stuff with the community, it becomes public. Then you're looking at insurance and all this other crap, and city bylaws and city codes. But there's a lot of smart people out here in British Columbia, Canada. So I'm sure they could figure it out where everybody's happy, and we can bring in a functioning private park that we can share with the public, because it wouldn't be a public park. It would be a private park that would be shared with the public. How we decide to share it with the public, like on, for example, one day the door to the park could just be open to anybody and everybody. On another day, it could be booked in with, you know, the Boy Scouts, and they're in there doing their Boy Scout activities. Another day could be with the church coming in with the elderly, right? That's what I've always wanted, people. So if we get a $2 million donation, I am going to be egging the board director to go into that direction. And as for me, you know, with Amari, you know, eventually I'm going to have to leave this house, more than likely, eventually. But there is no rush on that yet. I'm still growing trees. My trees are still very little, right? So I've got a few years yet to go. And, you know, and if we get this $2 million, chances are we'll end up getting more somewhere along the line, or maybe we'll do a fundraiser. And then I would like to start working on building in social housing. I don't know. I'm thinking more like co-op versus social to offset what the BC Liberal government did in their reign of 16 years of terror to this province, to the point where, you know, they've like completely destroyed the housing market for a lot of people, including the middle class. It's not just the poor people that are affected. It is the middle class that is affected as well. So if we can somehow close that gap a little bit by bringing in co-op housing, right, with a few hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment from that $2 million, you know, that might be the better way to go. Other than that, I could never live anywhere connected to that money, because that would be ethically wrong. And I've always been as ethical as I could possibly be when I work on this nonprofit, because it came from the heart. So, honest to God, if somebody donates $2 million to this foundation sitting up here in Canada for program development, boy oh boy, that would be amazing.